no longer has to walk on eggshells.
That's got to be a sense of relief for her.
Absolutely. The girl can now breathe, and it's a good thing.
And speaking of breathing, her spouse, Mitch, can also breathe now that he's had a chance to kind of share with his wife, Kristen, some of his background and caused him to be the way that he is.
Thank God he could unclench now.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about Lifetime Network's reality-based TV series, Married at First Sight, season number 15, episode number 11.
But before we get into it, please like, share, and subscribe. Please click that notification button so you know when we upload new content, and we appreciate and thank you for doing that.
This episode ends with Dr. Pepper Schwartz checking in on them to find out how they're doing.
Right.
At their apartment.
And Kristen is very emotional. She starts crying. She said she has overcompensated in how she's living with Mitch, and as a result she feels a lot of pressure and pain, and she realized what she's doing and she doesn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's almost like she's going to explode. She also said that their start has been rocky. It is what it is right now, and she wants to find out what can be done to kind of change that so she doesn't feel like she's walking on eggshells.
Right, and one of the issues that she had that she said she wanted Mitch to respond to is she had 3 questions. How is Mitch feeling right now? How is he feeling towards her? And are they going to move forward? Because, you know, she's always overcompensate when he responds to stuff, and most of it was centered around Mitch and not about them.
Right, right. And also, too, Dr. Schwartz made a suggestion to Kristen and basically suggested to her that she needs to tell Mitch what she needs instead of what she wants.
Yeah.
And I think that might work out a little bit better for not only her but also for them as a couple.
She wanted him to know that she's there, not to take her for granted, not to devalue her, and she wanted to know that he had some kind of feelings for her.
Yeah, and that she wants to feel like she's being validated.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think Mitch got that part,
yeah.
and also that's definitely a step in the right direction for him.
Right, because
and for her.
Because in the past she would say, like, for example, when she said she wanted to flip houses, he just shined her off, and that was hurtful. So
right,
she
right.
doesn't want him to do that again.
Right, and Mitch also admits that Kristen is much more brave than he is
right.
From his perspective.
Right.
And that Mitch is kind of comes off as a very fearful and a fearful person, and who's, you know, basically afraid of things that are unknown to him.
Right, so that's where the importance of the exercise comes in, because they're supposed to go back and tell each other about their life story growing up and write a letter to their younger self. So Kristen takes him to the ballpark because she loves softball.
Right.
And we find out she was very athletic. She was involved in track.
And volleyball.
As well. So the girl was busy.
And she also felt like there was a lot of pressure, on her to succeed
right.
in those sports and be successful overall. I think some of that pressure was originally sourced from her mother.
Exactly. So her mom pressured her to always do good, and she felt that pressure. So when she was given a choice whether to go to work or continue in softball, which she loved, she chose going to work. And she regretted that.
Absolutely.
To this day, she's regretted that.
Absolutely. Yes. Problem. She tends to be, I guess, in some way, a perfectionist.
Yes.
And she has to come to the point where she realizes that she doesn't have to be
right.
perfect. She doesn't.
She can exhale.
Right.
Because when you're trying to be a perfectionist, you're trying to be everything to everyone, and no one is able to do that. So she needs to just let that go by the wayside.
Right, and she also said that there were a lot of memories that came back when she visited that softball field and kind of was hitting balls and fielding balls with Mitch, who she said basically needed a little bit of work, but he did okay.
Yeah, she said he wasn't Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
His game was basically trash, but he improved after they stayed out there
Right,
for a while.
right, and I think in her confessional she gave him a B minus for his effort.
Right,
So that's
right.
pretty good for
Yeah.
somebody who hadn't done it in, I
Right.
don't know, maybe decades, maybe.
He went to his mom's house and
Okay.
picked up that box of photographs.
Right,
And
brought it
and he
back,
brought it back
and
to
spread
their
it all
room
over
and
the bed.
spread it out over the
Yeah,
bed.
yeah,
And brought her
that's
in and started showing her his life when he was a child.
right, right, right.
And he talked about his father
Mm-hmm.
and their relationship. He thought his father was a hard-working man,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved his father somewhat, but
He
he
said,
didn't have a whole lot of structure growing
right,
up.
because their parents, Mitch's parents, divorced in 83 or 84.
Right,
That was a little while ago.
and he too was a latchkey kid, so
Mm-hmm.
when he got home from school, nobody was there, so he said he and his friends just
Did
ran
whatever the
havoc.
hell they wanted to do.
Did whatever.
Rambunctious.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and he also conveyed an incident where, when he was living with his father, there was an earthquake.
And he said it was so traumatic. His brother's bed fell down on him,
Mm-hmm.
and he heard his father running in the room trying to save them because the earthquake went on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And as a small child, I could imagine how traumatic that
Oh,
was.
scared the hell out of an
Yeah.
adult, let alone a kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was completely understandable. Then he had talked to Kristen about when his father passed, which was in, I believe, January of 14.
Yeah.
Kind of add on to what this whole notion was of getting to know Mitch. Mitch decides to take Kristen to her father's gravesite,
Yes.
which he hadn't been to, I would assume, in a very long time.
Yes, and that was emotional too.
Right, and he talked very openly there about, thinking that, he thought that his father would really have
Would
liked
like
Kristen.
her, and he was really relaxed. He was really like open. It's the most relaxed I have ever seen him.
Yeah.
He wasn't like overthinking stuff
Right,
or looking like
and he
tense.
wasn't scared
And he
or
wasn't
afraid of
scared or
anything, right? Or kind of feeling like he was, had to protect himself because he didn't want to appear to be vulnerable or anything like that.
Right,
He was just
right.
his true self showed up for
Right.
sure.
So that was good to see and watch.
Yeah,
So
then-
eventually,
yeah. They made their way to the beach.
the
and-
beach, your
which is-
favorite spot. The
Right.
beach is everything.
Yeah, it seemed like they like hanging around water, and I ain't met another one of them for that one.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Wish I was there.
Who you telling, man? Y'all can take us too if you want to.
And Kristen said that she told her younger self that she doesn't have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
She can be herself and stuff is gonna turn out okay.
Right.
She don't need to put a lot of stuff on her plate. She could just ease into what she needs to do.
Yeah, and Mitch, after that, I could tell he was really, I guess, sympathetic and empathetic to Kristen at that moment, and not having to feel any pressure to be, that perfect person.
That perfect, that
Yeah.
representative of you, as you like to say.
Right. Yeah, Mitch kind of got a little choked up and teary-eyed when he was reading his letter from his younger self to his older self in front of Kristen. He mentioned that he recognized that it was okay for him to acknowledge when he's scared or afraid or vulnerable,
Yeah.
and to just deal with that part of it, and everything would be okay. He was proud of himself, and he thought his father would be proud of him,
Yeah.
and that he's got really good expectations for the future.
For the future.
Right.
Yeah, and again, you saw that different side of Mitch that he has never presented before. If that was the real Mitch we got to
I
see.
think it probably was. It took a while to dig through some stuff to get there, but I think it was, and I think somebody who really noticed it was his wife, Kristen, because I think she was kind of holding on in some small way or maybe some significant way to some feelings, feelings of anger and or resentment
But she
based
said
on
that,
based on what she had experienced up until that point. But
Right.
then after hearing and seeing him, after hearing him read his own letter and seeing him break down like he did, she kind of came to the conclusion or realization that, hey, look, I was wrong for maybe feeling this way.
He does have a heart.
Right, he does have a heart, and after hearing that, I now understand much better why he is the way that he is, and I need to, if we're going to make it, I need to get rid of
The
this thing
resentment
that I'm holding on to
right.
and harboring because it's not necessarily directed at me.
Right, and it's not going to benefit their
Right.
relationship anyway.
Right. So that was a really good thing in terms of an admission from Kristen, as far as I'm concerned, and that is certainly progress that I feel in the right direction. Letting go of that resentment and anger feelings. I think there's one of her castmates who probably needs to take a page out of her book.
And whose phrase shall that be?
Her initials are Morgan.
Wow. Her initials are Morgan.
Not so subtle.
Anyway, that's all we have.
Yep.
We'd like to thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We appreciate you spending time with us. Blessings always. We out. Bye-bye.
Deuces.